and welcome to what would be Furry Friday, except today we have some very special guests. We have some bearded dragons. They are as yet unnamed, but look at how nice, so docile, so full of personality. And of course, Laura, who does have a name
Hello.
and a personality. Hello. She is, sporting hers as an accessory. Well, welcome, and thank you for bringing these two lovely little creatures in.
It's overdue to bring you something unique.
Yes, she wouldn't show me. She wouldn't show me at first. She says, no, wait. So, Laura, tell me about a bearded dragon then. How do you care for these little guys?
These guys are, fairly easy to care for somebody who's used to caring for reptiles. They, need the heat, the UV. They like to kind of have some places to hide, climb. They need proper humidity. And they actually like a mixture of bugs and vegetation in their diet.
Okay.
So they're a little bit above maybe like a gecko or something like that, which would be more of an entry-level pet.
Yes.
For a new reptile owner, but they are still pretty easy to care for.
So vegetation, what kind of vegetation? Like
apples, leafy greens, things like that. Yep.
Okay, leafy greens. Well, look at you going right for the lettuce. What?
These guys are big fans of the super worms, they're called. So they love them. There's a little one that I left behind at the shelter. There's 3 of them in total. And the little one, for being he's about a third of the size of these guys. And when the super worms go in, he hovers over the bowl.
Now, super worms, aren't those supposed to be high in protein and edible for us too?
They are, apparently.
Wasn't there a certain chain of fast food that was rumored to be making their burgers out of these little items?
I don't know. You got to hear the crunch when the geckos get a hold of them. I don't know if I could do it.
Okay, well, I didn't say the name of this fast food chain because I'm far too clever for that. Okay, so how big can one expect these little guys to get?
These guys could probably about double in size.
Okay, so these are then relatively young as far as...
Yeah, they're not full grown. And like I said, there's different species, and I apologize. I'm somewhat good with my reptiles, but not 100%. So if somebody out there knows more about them than I do, by all means, message our Facebook page and let me know. Because, the one that we have, I think, is the smaller type, the one I left behind. And then these guys, I do believe, will get, upwards of maybe not quite twice their size currently.
So bearded then, having to do with the flop under their little mouths, or he just stuck his tongue out. He's tasting my sweater. Yeah. Very nice.
And it was something that I had pointed out to you. These guys all have all of 3 of them have a little bit of damage to the end of their tail.
Okay, so we're talking about the nub here.
Yeah.
The nub.
So they were all housed together. So I mean, it's probably all either a combination of them fighting or lack of humidity in a terrarium, which can cause improper shedding of the skin, which can strangulate their limbs and tail.
Okay, so we talked then, so humidity is important, the proper lighting, enough heat, climbing capacity.
Just the size. People think they can be housed in a pretty small spot, but I mean, they will get, they'll get muscle fatigue from being not active. And these guys actually quite enjoy, if you get them friendly enough, they enjoy, you can get little harnesses and take
them for a walk.
Take them for a little walk, have a safe space in your house that they can have free time. They're quite social animals. Like, even though, I mean, these guys look just pretty chill, but they do like the attention and the interaction with people.
So kind of cool to touch. I'm feeling this little body here on my arm. So, if you're new to reptiles, this is not your standard, warm, cuddly little thing, but still very much seems to enjoy being stroked.
Yeah.
Well, and who wouldn't? I mean, let's be honest, it's Friday. So, a nice gentle stroking is appreciated. So what else can we say? Now, do they have a need for companionship in terms of their own species? Like,
I wouldn't say so. I mean, these guys they were housed together, but I mean, they can be housed alone by all means. And just again, as long as you're, as the owner, interacting with them so that they don't, get lonely.
So now, so we've talked extensively about, the fee structures for, the standard puppies, kittens, dogs, cats, senior versions of those animals. What about the little critters? Like, I'm assuming that would be the category.
Yeah, it does vary depending on the critter, but these guys, we usually ask $50 as a donation fee. They are surprisingly, and that's something a lot of people don't realize, It gets costly to feed reptiles because especially, you know, like you get a big container of the super worms, they're $13. That's going to maybe last you a week and a half. And then you've got your fresh veggies and things like that. And I mean, multiply, we're feeding 3 of them right now.
Okay.
So it can be pricey. It's not as cheap as people think. I do give them occasional crickets. They're pretty lazy. They don't really want to go after them. They prefer their food in a bowl, which that's where the super worms go in a bowl, they know. But then they also need supplements. So you need to, if you're doing crickets, you do what's called gut loading. So you feed your crickets nutrients so that when the reptile eats it, they're getting the nutrients out of the cricket.
Oh,
so that gets
clever.
costly. You also have to do calcium supplements.
A spoonful of cricket helps the medicine go down.
They did eat all the crickets that I put in for them on Tuesday, so they did eat them. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot to look into if you're interested in getting into the world of reptiles.
He's going to sleep.
They're really, these guys are, I think they were, you know, just the transition into the shelter. It's stressful, but we've got them in a nice quiet room, so. And they like the interaction. I think they enjoy, especially if you're a warm type of person, like your skin's always warm, hands are warm.
Yeah.
They like to just relax.
Well, yeah, and you see him sort of melting
Yeah.
into me. I tend to.
They will. They'll fold all their belly spots onto the warmness. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I tend to run a little hot. You like that, do you?
Sometimes people think that bearded dragons are like overweight, but that's actually quite normal for him to have that big kind of floppy belly.
Oh, see?
That's a sign of a good healthy bearded dragon. They can get obese with lack of exercise.
Sure.
We've had them in the past where they're visibly obese, but it's much different than this. This is a nice healthy sized beardy.
Well, there you go. Bearded dragons normalizing belly fat. Fantastic. Fantastic. Probably very popular pet in Victorian. No, not Victorian. What's the Empire Waistline? That one, anyway. That time period. There you go. All right. Well, so I'm assuming then that the adoption process would be the same. No, just dropping in, give me a dragon. You still have to apply.
Yeah, I mean, it would depend. Like as far as like the veterinarian services, there is only one in town that typically sees these guys. Across the river, we'll see them as well. I believe one of the vets there. So that's just something to discuss with us, whether or not we would overlook that, especially if you have experience with reptiles and whatnot.
Okay.
So
Okay.
typically the vet here that does is excellent as far as taking on like the special critters. So
Okay. All right.
a little bit different than taking on like our furry friends. So because
Okay.
it is such a specialized field.
But I'm assuming, though, still you would submit the application in advance, which will be available, is available on the website, is available at 962 Second Line East. You can walk in and get that. Otherwise, I will be, as always, posting a nice little summarized article of our interview today with our very special guests, and I will include all of the links. All of the links. Now, in this moment, these little guys are not on the website.
We haven't got them put on the website yet, not for any other reason, as we just honestly haven't had time. I think right now on the website under other critters, like that's where the application would be in the other tab.
Okay.
I believe we have our guinea pigs, but right now we also have quite a few rats, really nice, friendly rats.
Rats make great pets.
They do. I think
I've
we
had
have almost a
pets.
dozen beautiful rats that are, and mice still, lots of mice, available for adoption. So that falls all under the other category. But hopefully by the end of day, or if not by the end of weekend, we'll get these guys put online.
Okay, and as always, so many ways you can support the Humane Society. You can foster if you're uncertain as to whether you can take a pet into your life full time. Make a donation of cash, get a tax receipt, food. Can they bring crickets and super
Oh my goodness,
worms?
if somebody wants to donate bugs for us, that would be fantastic.
Bring them some super worms.
We would love some bugs.
All right, well, Laura, as always, a genuine pleasure, and thank you for startling me with these lovelies. I really like this little guy. I wish I could take him home. Yeah, so that's a chronic message every week. I wish I could take him home, but my cats would probably not be down. So, yeah. Well, thank you as always
you.
for your time. And if you're looking for, you know, a definite conversation piece, but a very social, chill sort of addition to your circle, then look no further. They're right here. Catch us next week with another edition of Furry Friday and a new pet to consider. Bye.